Hey, everybody. Welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from GiantBomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about next-gen consoles because a new one just got confirmed. And what are your Mario Day traditions? Me and my family, we have a turkey, of course. We get the family together. We play Sonic games. And we're blasphemous. Yeah.
Leave the plunger out so you can leave candy in it.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. You know, the kids know. The kids do that. It's going to be a good one because it's Finelli Friday, everybody. We got Jason Finelli. Finelli, how are you doing? It is now.
All right.
Yeah.
It's a thing. Finelli Friday. Here we are. Yes, feeling good on a Friday. Another week over, heading towards the weekend here. Lots of things to talk about. Some surprising things I didn't expect to hear about until next week. I thought you specifically would shake the details of the first thing we're going to talk about, since you'll be at GDC. That's fun. But yeah, it's been an interesting week so far. Good stuff, bad stuff, weird stuff. And we're going to try and get to all of it right now.
That's right. It's going to be a good one. Yeah, Jason, I am going to GDC, so I'll be traveling here very soon, and then at the end of the month we'll be at PAX. So are you? Can I announce publicly that you'll be there, or am I blowing up your spot?
Can. Let's go. Getting back to Boston for the first time in 3 years. I am so excited to check that out. I always liked PAX East. It always was like I would go there and find my new indie big game. And I feel like this year already, with things that I've been approached with, there's some highlights. There's some good ones. Should be good.
I'm looking forward to getting back out there. It's been a minute since I've done some traveling for an event like GDC. I guess it was like PAX last year or something like that. But I've not been to GDC proper in a very long time. So more than a decade. Yeah, because I as soon as Emmy was born, I stopped going. It was just kind of bad timing every year.
Sure.
So I'm looking forward to get back out there, hang out with Jan, hang out with Nikki, get some work done, do a panel. If you're going to be at GDC, come see my panel. It's going to be good. Right afterwards, Phil Salvador's got his panel for the Video Game History Foundation. So stick around and watch that. You could do a double feature right there. It's going to be a good time.
What a 1-2 punch that is. Hell yeah. You love that.
Yeah, we are going to have PAX East panels. We're still working with PAX directly on exactly what because we try to help them out and fill in things that they need because we have a pretty good relationship with them. So we're kind of working with them currently on exactly what would best serve PAX East. So we'll have the final details, I'm sure, pretty soon about when you can see us at PAX East. I think we've been saying generally Friday and or Saturday. We're going to have multiple things. So again, more details to come. All right. Hey, it's Friday, Jason. What do you say we get into it? Does that sound good?
Let's do it, baby. Here we go.
Let's explain ourselves. Most weekdays, that's the wrong thing to say. It's giantbomb.com/join. That's how you become a premium member. I'm telling you, it's Friday. This is going to be a mess of a show. Hey, everybody who supports us, we appreciate it because it ensures we can continue doing what we like to do over here. And we can only do it through your support because we are independent games media out here on our own. No corporate backers. We have you instead. So if you go to giantbomb.com/join, you can ensure all of that will continue to happen. And again, we're very thankful to everyone who has shown up. And if you can't do so financially, we get it. Tell a friend about the site. That also helps us quite a bit. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Xbox confirms its next console will run PC games and is codenamed Project Helix. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. They confirmed this. This is something that kind of was happening while we were, I think we were doing Marry Me Tomodachi yesterday, and this kind of just popped up, and I was like, oh, okay. And then as I had a chance to go and read the details, it started to fit together a little bit more easily for me, where it's like the timing of when they were going to probably start talking about this device with developers was probably always this GDC. So there's the choice of, do you kind of say something because you know it's going to start to leak? That happens a lot of times coming out of the GDC before the launch of a new console. That is when we start to hear a lot of these rumors. So I bet there was always a conversation that they would start talking about it now. But I bet it doesn't hurt that Asha Sharma can sort of like put her stamp on things and be like, hey, we are moving ahead. And what is more moving ahead for a maker of a console than a new console, Jason?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There also seems to be a hint of narrative control, I feel.
Yeah.
Like if they announcing that she's going to be at GDC to talk about it and then just getting out ahead and saying, yeah, we're going to be talking about this console sort of makes sense in a let's just turn the rumor mill off right now sort of way, right? Like this is what we're doing. This is our intention. We're not going to hide it. Come see what we have to say. Now, is it going to be informative? Probably not in this early stage, especially if they're going for 27. Is it going to be one of those Mark Cerny ASMR videos that he did for the PS5 at GDC in 2020 that puts us all to sleep? Because that man, I would listen to him read the phone book. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? It could just be, I do think Project Helix, it's called that because as it mentioned in this little announcement that we got, it's going to run Xbox and PC games intertwined like a Helix. Someone felt real creative when they thought of that. But that lends to a lot of questions, right? PC games, how? Are we going to be going through Steam? Are we going to be going through games for Windows? Are we going to be going through an Xbox, the native Xbox app just translated onto this device? Is it going, because I think it was you that mentioned last night, the marketplace, the 30% cut, are they going to give people a way to get around that now?
Oh yeah.
Like
they definitely, I mean, if it's a PC, yeah, just straight up, yeah, there's going to be a lot of ways. I mean, I think that's why Epic has been so on board, right? Epic is famous for not wanting to pay those cuts, and it kind of really made that stand on PC and on mobile, and made less of a stink on console. And I feel like it's because they had this partner in Xbox where they've been talking about this for a long time. So yeah, I think the idea is to let these developers and publishers do whatever they want on this platform, put on your own store, whatever, and then give people access to their Steam games and their Epic games. Really, the question is, Xbox games. If this is a PC, so we're going to get backward compatibility from Xbox, and it sounds like, yeah, that is exactly how they'll do it. So if you own a disc for an Xbox game and it's, supported through whatever the backward compatibility looks like here, which I imagine is going to be a pretty big list, but maybe not everything, then you could put that disc in a drive that they sell you separately and play that game on this PC that is also an Xbox. It's going to look very different. And to me, it sounds like a competitor to the Steam machine as opposed to the PlayStation. So, and that's probably a good position for Microsoft to retreat into.
Sure.
Because they could sell 10 to 15 million of these things, and that would make them very competitive in this PC consoleized space. It would make them a kind of a very, very, very distant third in the console space. So, does that, is that their motivation here? I don't think so. I think their motivation is, as a lot of people in chat are pointing out, Jason, this is as always, Xbox getting treated as the Trojan horse. When it was once the box to put Windows in the living room in one way or another, it has now certainly transformed inside the walls of Microsoft into the Trojan horse to get AI into the living room.
Yeah, probably, unfortunately.
I mean, if it's a PC, it's just going to be filled with Copilot stuff, just sort of without a doubt.
And let me just put it out there so there's no confusion. Fuck Copilot. Anyway, I also too, I think there's a train of thought to follow here in Xbox being very inspired or intrigued by the Switch dynamic, because if you can pair this thing with your ROG Ally or any future iterations of the ROG Ally, you essentially have the Switch experience right there, right? You play it on your home console, or you could take your ROG Ally and have the exact same experience, perhaps with the same OS. Because aren't they developing? Wasn't there rumors too that they were developing some sort of new gaming Windows OS specifically for this, like a Steam OS?
Apparently, that's like the most important thing about this, according to the reporting, that Microsoft wants to get this right more than anything, and it is that dual side of basically Windows working like Steam OS. So you launch your Steam Deck, it goes into gaming mode. That's how this new Xbox would work. And hopefully, eventually, the Ally itself would get that update. And then you could go into a desktop mode and do all your Windows stuff there as well. And it's a full computer in that mode. And then it just has this very, very streamlined version of its OS in the gaming mode. We are far away from that from what we've seen from them dropping the Ally. But I think you're right that they are building it as one ecosystem so that people can jump between these devices. It's just like, inherently a little bit less compelling than what Nintendo's doing, and even
Well,
probably what PlayStation will end up doing, because the prices on this PC hardware is so high because the subsidies just aren't there for it in the way that they can kind of be early on for a console. So I don't know. I mean, people will be into this idea because there's people who like gaming on Windows PCs, and if this sort of opens up new avenues to do that, that will find an audience. It's just not the size of a console audience. So yeah, I think there's a question a lot of people have, Jason, of like, who is this Xbox going to be for? And it's for
right.
a very different person than the Xbox has been for up to this point, I think, except for those people that might have a massive collection of games that they acquired exclusively on Xbox. This is them saying, hey, we're going to throw you a bone and still give you a way to play those games.
Yeah, and also too, we can talk about the tech and the underlying communications between ROG Ally and all and OS and all these other ideas till the cows come home. None of it means shit if the games aren't there,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Because you want to make an Xbox, you're going to have Xbox exclusive titles, hopefully, or at least Xbox Studios made titles. Whether you're still putting them on PlayStation or not, that's a whole nother discussion for later on. If the games aren't there, it doesn't mean anything. So if they don't. I don't think there is a console I can think of in the last like maybe decade or so that has. I mean, every console needs a strong launch lineup, but this one needs, like, it is vital to have a strong first party launch lineup, or else it's dead in the water.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, I don't even know if I expect them to have any exclusives whatsoever. Like, I know that there's the conversation about going back to that somewhat. But what they are talking about here, I just don't see how that really works all that well. I mean, so when this system comes out, when they are making a new game at Xbox, are they making that game a PC game, or one of these, or an Xbox game that runs on the Xbox side exclusively of this PC that they just put out? I don't think so. I think they just make every game a PC game. And it's like, well, that runs on our new Xbox. So do the old Xbox games. But this is a PC game that also runs on the Xbox PC. So it's just inherently there's this thing where it's like they are making their device so open that it would be kind of weird for them to be precious about exclusives. And I think that puts them in a situation where it's like the Steam Deck again, where the Steam Deck doesn't have a launch lineup, right? It has a bunch of third-party games that were going to be out on everything else, including PC, and now it's running on the Steam Deck. And I think that's what they're trying to get at here. The best place to play all the games you already have, and we're not trying to sell exclusives. So yeah, and it inherently has a lower ceiling, because people are just going to be like, I can play this on a device I already own. I don't need this Xbox device specifically, right?
Right, but also, like, as you just mentioned, that's a hard sell, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you can play these games you already own, but if the console is, $1,000 to $1,500 because RAM prices are through the fucking roof, nobody's going to invest that to play a bunch of stuff they already have. Or God forbid they come in more expensive than the PlayStation, which they did last time, I think.
Well,
that
same,
could
I think.
same or yeah, maybe it was the same. Maybe the different models is what's messing me up here. That could affect them as well. There are a lot of very big outliers here to consider as we go into this next console cycle, whenever that may be. But I don't know. It does seem like Xbox and Sony are going in two different trajectories when it comes to access to their biggest titles, right? Here, as you mentioned, it looks like they're just going to give everything to everybody. And they're pulling away from other platforms like PC and just saying, you want to play our games, you have to do it here. Both share an inherent amount of risk. And if you put them next to each other, sure, you'll be missing out on PlayStation's exclusives, but the play everything seems better, right?
Yeah, I think so. So I just don't. I don't know what the expectations inside of Microsoft are for this device. I bet they're pretty low. I don't think that they are thinking this is going to be their best-selling Xbox. It's not going to sell like certainly not like the Xbox One, which I think ended up being their best-selling Xbox ever. And probably won't sell like the 360, which sold very, very well. And the series has kind of been diminished since both of those. It's selling less than both of those. And this is like maybe older information, but I think that's right. And it's like, I think it sells less than the series as well. So what are they like? And it feels like they know that. So I think they're shifting their strategy so much that if the thing sells 5 million units, they're like, well, that doesn't matter because our strategy was never about this thing in the first place. We'll get more
Based
information
on what
maybe
I'm,
next week.
yeah, I'm sure we will. They're going to have a bunch of talks, I imagine, both private and public about this. Based on what I'm looking at right here, Xbox One never did catch up to Xbox 360.
It did not. Okay. Okay.
I'm showing 84 million for 360 versus around 60 million
That's
for
right.
Xbox
Okay.
One. So nope, and I don't think they'll ever get to those 360 heights ever again.
It's been stepping down since then. That's much worse actually. So
yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well, then, yeah, I think that they probably just expect this to continue that trend. And oof. All right, let's keep going here. Oh yeah, go ahead, please.
You could also argue those 360 sales figures were inflated because of how many people had to rebuy it thanks to the Red Ring of Death.
They definitely were, but there's something to be said for having a console that's so good it can people are like instead of getting mad when it breaks, they're like I just need to buy another one. There's an art to that. There's been several consoles that have pulled that off. Xbox 360 being the worst offender. All right. Like I said, let's keep going here to Nintendo Direct for Mario Galaxy movie coming soon as Yoshi Popcorn Bucket revealed. This is from Eddie McHugh at GameSpot. Nintendo has announced the next Nintendo Direct, and it's coming up very soon. A Nintendo Direct dedicated to the Super Mario Galaxy movie will be held on Monday, March 9th at 2 p.m. Pacific Time, 5 p.m. Eastern. This event will include the final trailer for the Super Mario Galaxy movie, which is coming April 1st. And it's like if it's like the previous directs for Nintendo's movies, we may see and hear from Shigeru Miyamoto and Illumination's Chris Meledandri again. The Nintendo Direct will not, however, feature any game information. Nintendo clarified to help set expectations. Okay. So we've had quite a few of these at this point, and I feel like we know what to expect. And it's usually like, hey, it's an advertisement for the movie, and then there's a couple surprises about the movie. Like they'll show the new characters and new voice actors, and I always have a pretty good time with this. We are healthily in the middle of their Mario Day stuff right now, right? We just had the Virtual Boy and Game Boy Advance games get added to NSO, and they are promising more stuff that we'll talk about for Mario Day here in a second. And the movie is clearly their focal point. Do you think there's a chance that they parlay that excitement into a Mario 3D big AAA game announcement before the movie comes out?
No, after.
Yeah.
I think you let the movie happen and then you have another Nintendo Direct somewhere in the Switch 2 reveal window, that April somewhere in the middle of April, and then you put it there, and maybe that's your holiday game or your first game in 2027 or something like that. It just extends the amount of time that we're talking about Mario, right? You can get feasibly a month's worth of Mario hype if you go Mario 10 day up to the movie launch. Then 10 days after that, 9 days after that, you have a Nintendo Direct, a regular old Direct that just happens to have 3D Mario in it, right? And then plus Baby Bell, that's not fucking cheese.
Bella Bell?
The Bella Bell Park is coming.
Sounds like the cheese, though. It sounds a lot like the cheese.
It sounds like it should be cheese, and there should be cows everywhere. But yeah, so that's in there too, right? That's end of March.
Yep.
So you throw that in there. It sounds like they have a nice little pipeline of Mario hype going for the next month. I know I'm excited about this just by seeing the poster. Have you looked at the poster this morning?
I looked at it a little bit. What called out to you?
Wart is on there.
Oh, I didn't. I saw someone say a D-cup villain, and I'm like, they're probably talking about Birdo. And I looked at the poster. I didn't see Wart. Let me take a look here.
He's in the bottom left corner, right? He's just hanging out with his little crown and his little. I'm not saying the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Piss off, chat. But Wart is there, right, with Mauser. So you're going to get some Mario 2 love, which is nice. Also, I don't know if you did this, but back in the first movie, there was a number you could text for Super Mario Brothers plumbing, and I got a text this morning. Yes, you got that text. I don't think we saw him. Did you get the other contact?
I don't know. I think they said they were going to text back, and I never looked. All right, so what's happening here? Explain for everybody.
All right, so back in the original Super Mario movie, there was this number you could text, and it would send you updates about the movie in the guise of a plumbing company, Super Mario Brothers Plumbing.
Mario Brothers Plumbing, yeah.
Yes. This morning, I got a text from them saying we're changing the contact to Gateway Galaxy. And when you open up Gateway Galaxy, the picture is not someone we've seen before.
Yeah, that's Rob.
That's Rob.
That's Rob the
So
robot, everybody. That's a robotic operating buddy. Is what that stands
he
for.
is. He is a robotic
Yeah.
operator, but he is my gyro mate. And now he's here in this movie, apparently, which is a nice little callback. If you want to keep drip feeding me little shit like this until the movie comes out,
Yes.
that's fine. The Yoshi popcorn bucket is adorable.
Yes, I'm gonna get that for sure.
No, I sent a text to my wife this morning. Hey, speaking from your future, and I just sent her the picture. She's like, "Oh, cool. When's that happening?" I'm like,
Steph sent me a text about it saying we're gonna get this. I'm like, all right, sweet, let's go.
listen, out of context, but that comes. It sounds so much weirder coming out of you when my wife is also named Steph.
It's just that's the way it is. Yep, they're all wives are named Steph. That's just what it is. Yes,
All wives
exactly.
are Steph.
We've established this as fact.
But and all moms are Karen, which is funny because my mom is actually Karen.
Yeah, so is Mike.
It sounded like I sent it to her, she sent it to you. Just some weird thing going on there. But yes, Rob Wart, the right side of the poster has what is supposed to be Bowser Jr.'s little planet thing, but the little squiggly line that's supposed to be a mouth looks an awful lot like a certain mustache, if you ask me. So I imagine we'll see him too.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah, very excited for this movie. Can't wait.
So the Mario stuff does continue. There is other festivities for Mario Day. That includes those NSO games. This is from Nintendo Wire. There's not a ton here. Like this is a sort of relaying of what Nintendo has said about what they plan to do for Mario Day. And Nintendo's like, we're gonna have Mario games on the NSO that you could play. Like just reminding people to go play Mario games on NSO. Now, that does include the new Virtual Boy games and the Game Boy Advance version of Mario versus Donkey Kong. But still, it's like, okay, you already announced that. They're going to have Mario-related game sales from March 8th through the 14th. They don't look like great discounts, but there's a handful that might be promising. They're going to have a Mario Kart World event throughout March. The Mario Kart World My Nintendo Open offers weekly races, versus races, coin runners, knockout tour, where participation earns 310 My Nintendo Platinum points. We should do that. I like those Platinum points. It gets you stuff from their weird store every once in a while. And then they're going to have in-person events that are meet and greets with Mario to be held at the Nintendo store in New York and San Francisco on March 10th. And then they have like some sweepstakes for the Universal Studios theme park. Okay, yeah, that sounds pretty good. I get it. Like it's mostly just an advertisement for other Mario stuff. That's always what Mario Day is. Does it feel like they're holding anything back? I saw people being like, hey, maybe they pull a Mario, the original Mario movie and kind of announce the new Mario game in the credits of like this movie or something like that. You don't think they have the potential of doing anything like that these days, right?
Oh no, not with screeners and leaks and things like that. I would think they for all of the leaks that happen in games, once in a while, unless someone goes into their servers and pulls a giga leak sort of thing,
right?
They tend to keep things close to their chest, right? They tend to be pretty good at that. So I don't think they would risk attaching the end of the next big Mario game anywhere in this movie at all, right? At least not in the first weekend run. Right? Maybe after that, if my Nintendo Direct prediction is a little earlier than I think. So if the movie comes out April 1st, you have the Direct on April, I don't know, 8th, whatever the calendar looks like there. And then you put the trailer for the new Mario movie at the end of the movie going forward.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That. But I don't think it's going to happen right when the movie comes out. No, I really do think they're just focused on the movie itself right now, as indicative by these other celebrations, like Super Mario Party Jamboree Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Jamboree TV being $10 off is not a big deal.
Right.
But it could, if you look at it a certain way, all these things together could be the beginning of the 40th anniversary celebration, and they extend it for as long as they can.
Right.
I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, yeah, they at least extend it through the run of the movie, and it's like that they will not be quiet about it through there, and that gives them a lot of time to fill in the gaps with a real eventual Nintendo Direct where we actually get all the answers to these kinds of questions. Even if that answer is there's not a 3D Mario game to announce yet because it's too soon after Donkey Kong, which is still a possibility.
Sure.
All right, that does it for the Mario Day talk. Let's take a break, everybody. We got plenty of more headlines to get into. We'll do that right after these messages. If you want to skip out on the ads, go to giantbomb.com/join Become a premium member. There you can find ad-free versions of the video and audio shows. In the meantime, we will be right back. All right, we are back. It's Game Mess Mornings. Jeff Grubb, Jason Finelli. Let's do some more headlines here. After 5 years, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake gets an 11-word update. This is from Darren Bonthus at GameSpot. 5 years after it was first announced, Saber Interactive's Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake has finally gotten an update, albeit a very predictable one. In a new interview, Saber Chief Creative Officer Tim Willits offered a terse summary of the project's current status. He said, quote, "Yes, it is still in development. That's all I can say." The game was first revealed in 2021. Details on the remake of the BioWare classic have essentially been non-existent for the last couple of years, but reports have surfaced since then of a turbulent development cycle. Back in 2025, it was claimed that developer Aspyr had been removed from the project and that the studio behind the upcoming Hellraiser revival, Madhead Games, was handed the reins of the remake. The same report also claimed that a potential remake of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 had been put on hold. While work continues on KOTOR, Star Wars fans can also look forward to a new one, Fate of the Old Republic, being made by a new studio. So this keeps coming up because there is obviously still the weirdness around the original announcement of this game, which happened at a PlayStation showcase, and PlayStation was
State of Play, one of them, yeah.
Yes, and PlayStation was involved in the publishing, and then since then, the trailer for that announcement has been removed by PlayStation from its YouTube page, and that's because, as I reported, PlayStation did not want anything to do with this game in the state it was in when it was being developed by Aspyr. After getting updated about it, they're like, "We're out. We're not involved." I don't think that's changed. I think Sony's still not involved with this project. I don't think that is going to change back, but it has been taken over by Saber and the studio it's working with to get it done, and they've been working on it ever since. It's been a while. This thing's probably due to reappear here pretty soon, especially with Fate of the Old Republic getting announced. It's like, okay, how do you try to set up those two things to sort of complement one another? I bet Lucasfilm is interested in that. What do you take away from this, yet another confirmation, this time from the actual head of Saber?
He could barely say less, right? 11 words, that's all you got for us. You can't elaborate a little bit. You can't tell us what's going on. You have a whole generation of people hanging on to this remake by a thread, and all you give them is 11 words of encouragement. That seems not great, right? Like you could have said, we've had a couple obstacles, but we're back on track, or you'll hear something relatively soon. If he would, I mean, he can make that decision, right? He's the chief creative officer. He can do whatever the hell he wants, even if it's wrong. But I don't know. And then to hear that Madhead Games, which I can barely say without snickering, is taking over the development of this after also doing Hellraiser is 50-50, right? Because Hellraiser looks nuts.
It looks
right?
cool.
That looks cool. It looks like they're really capturing what that franchise is supposed to do. That to Knights of the Old Republic is a bit of a pivot, right? Like it's a little,
but it's like, I do think Saber's, like, the way they seem to approach things is like, let's just get teams that are very technically capable and like know how to work with the tools they have. And then, the content matters less in terms of like the stylization of the content. Like, oh, one's sci-fi and adventurous and one's a scary horror game. They're both single player games with story elements and recognizable characters that need to be sort of portrayed in a way that people can instantly glom onto. I can see how this can work if they can get over that hump of like working on something that is slightly different. I'm pretty interested in this and pretty confident, just because they have been a little bit defiant ever since the stuff did fall through and they did take over from Aspyr. And they're like, no, we're going to get this done and we believe in it. At least that's kind of the word I always hear out of Saber. So yeah, I think that we should see this pretty soon. You're right. If it was soon, I wish he would have just said, hey, we do have something coming soon. It must not be ready yet. And I think that's why he can only say so much, because it's just in a spot where it's like they need to let the team cook, and that's all they have going for it right now. And maybe that changes here in the next few months. this thing could also take a couple more years, right? Like, there's
Yeah.
no guarantee that it's going to come out soon, right?
And meanwhile, Quantic Dream's like, no, don't look over here. We got nothing going on. Don't pay attention to us. Eclipse is just a thing. But I think both of these companies are going to benefit from focus being taken off of them because we're getting Zero Company. And Galactic Racer alone could do a lot of good
Yeah,
based on how that's looking.
you're right.
So maybe they're kind of hedging their bets that these Star Wars games are good enough that the fans are satiated and they can just kind of go head down, figure things out, and come back when they're ready. But attention will turn to them again, especially if we start to hear about Fate of the Old Republic before we hear more about KOTOR. That would be a disaster.
Yes.
So,
I mean, and
classic.
if they come out back to back, like if KOTOR remake can come, even if KOTOR remake comes out like right after KOTOR, I think they can make it work. But it'll be better if they can get KOTOR out quite a bit before that. So we'll see. A Quantic Dream game, I remember when it got announced, but I don't remember what year that was. But it was a long time ago, right? We're talking 4 years.
Was it the same showcase or right around the same showcase?
It was
2021, I think.
What was it? That might even go back to like the launch of the PS5.
Let me
so it might be
see.
2020 even.
I will take a look at that.
Either way, it's
I think it might be onto something here.
At the time, I remember being like, "Hey, I'm hearing a lot of like this game's not coming until 2027." And it was like, then the report would be like, "No, it's coming out next year, 2022, or whatever it was."
Okay, so this was a Game Awards 2021 announcement.
There we go. Okay, that sounds right. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, that was that's a long time, and we still have just not seen a peep of that game either. So 2027 is starting to look pretty right for that one. Okay, let's keep going here. Pokemon Company stands firm against the White House's political meme. This is from Amy Hart at Polygon. The Pokemon Company has issued a statement pushing back against the White House's use of Pokemon branding and imagery in its political propaganda. On Thursday, the White House took to the social media website Twitter and posted an image designed to mimic Pokemon's new game, Pokopia, featuring the words, "Make America Great Again," a slogan used by the Trump administration to usher in a racist future. In the background of the posted meme, iconic series characters such as Pikachu, Magikarp, and Slowpoke can be seen. While fans have also used Pokopia's font for funny posts, the White House's politically motivated post prompted the Pokemon Company to respond. "We are aware of recent social content that includes imagery associated with our brand," Savanthi Dev, a company spokesperson, said in a statement given to the New York Times. "We were not involved in its creation or distribution, and no permission was granted for the use of our intellectual property. Our mission is to bring the world together, and that mission is not affiliated with any political viewpoint or agenda." I think people are giving them a little bit of extra credit here, Jason, because no other company right now has released, like Microsoft had its Call of Duty stuff used in an atrocious post about the war in Iran.
Yeah.
And it's just Call of Duty images and how fun it must be to kill people. And Microsoft didn't say anything. Activision has not said anything, at least as far as I'm aware. And people were expecting the Pokemon Company to kind of do the same thing here. And at the very least, they did come out and publicly say that they were not involved and they don't approve of it. I don't think this is the toughest stance to take, though, but they did something. What do you think?
It's a shame that this can be done with such impunity.
Yeah.
And also, I understand why they don't rock the boat. It's just the situation. It's the situation we find ourselves in right now, especially with a foreign company like Pokemon. Right? If they come out here and say, "Hey, you do that again, we're going to sue you into the ground," then the hate machine starts. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the hate machine could go all the way back to, the Japanese government, which is leaning slightly more to the right now, as I understand it, and they could try to get Curry into good graces with Agent Orange, and then it's all of a sudden Pokemon is coming under all this, despite being the most popular franchise in the entire world. It is bleak. It is frustrating. It makes me very Like that was a fun thing we were all doing with the Pocopia generator, right? Like people were writing dumb shit. I put the Scott Steiner math in there just to be dumb. Like we were having a good time, and then they had to go and piss in our soup, as they tend to do.
I mean, it has to infect everything. It's just necessary
It
for
has
how
to.
fascism works. It just, they have
Right.
to, uh, they want you constantly thinking about them. It has to be, every part of our life has to be completely filled with them. And so, yeah, of course they weren't going to leave this alone. And it's just, of course, it has to do with, a terrible administration that is running the most dystopian war I've seen in my life. It's deeply troubling just how unhinged everything about this is, where it's like you can't trust anything. It seems very clear what's happening. No one in the Western media is kind of just flat out saying what's happening, and then the fun little stuff we use to kind of try to escape, which I'm brave enough to admit I am very cowardly and weak enough to be like someone who does need these escapes right now, because it's kind of tough out there. And so for them to kind of once again take over another one of these corners, even just in a tiny way, like this, is very frustrating to see. And you do want to just say, hey, this company that is famous for suing everybody, that goes for both Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, although in this case it would be the Pokemon Company. You know, do something. Do something more than this. You would do it if it was an individual making a fan mod of your game. Why not stand up to someone who certainly deserves it? But it's easy to pick on someone who's not your size, especially easy to not do it to someone who's much bigger and has nukes.
And the worst part is the people who do decide to fuck this, we're going after you, seem to have some pretty good success.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like the tariffs were made illegal. I think there was someone in
Taco, right? Trump always chickens out, right? It's like if you,
that seems to be the
you have to just like be ready to like withstand the hate machine, as you pointed out. Like like as soon as he points his psychos at the Pokemon Company and Nintendo, they will pay a price that will be very will shake them. It will be traumatizing, actually. And it's for the actual people who work at that company, let alone any money that they might have to deal with to spend to deal with the situation. But yeah, if you just kind of stand up a little bit, eventually you're going to look better on the other side. And at some point, the fever has to break, and you want to be one of these companies. I know they don't want to be, but they should want to be one of these companies that actually did something. Obviously, we can't rely on companies to do anything here. That's the whole point. Is the reason he has power is the elite have decided this is normal and okay because it benefits them. That is also 100% an aspect of fascism. So what can we do about it other than the things we need to do about it? All right. Arc Raiders was recording private Discord DMs. Another fun story. This is from Blair Marnell at
more
GameSpot.
Dystopia.
There's a reasonable expectation for privacy that comes with using direct messages, but no one should ever count on that. That's what some players may be discovering now that they've learned that Embark Studios' Arc Raiders was recording and storing their Discord DMs. According to Insider Gaming, the issue was uncovered by a computer engineer, Timothy Meadows. He discovered that when Arc Raiders was linked to players' Discord accounts, it stored their private messages locally on their PCs, as well as the Discord tokens needed to access them. If Embark had been intentionally spying on its players, that could have been enough to go through all of their private messages. Embark has already acknowledged the issue and shared a hotfix to take care of it. On the game's Discord channel, Embark stated that excessive user information had been saved, and the company assured players that their personal info and messages weren't reviewed or stored outside of their own machine. I don't believe you.
Wink,
I don't believe any of you fuckers anymore. Okay, the one that really, I got to just remember this for the rest of my life. It is a lesson that I need to have learned. The story about, hey, doesn't it feel like when we have a conversation in our home between ourselves, our loved ones, with me, with my children, or me with my significant other, that when I go to do something on the internet, it feels like a piece of information that only happened in one of those conversations started showing up as an ad in my life from Google? Well, that's weird, but they probably are figuring out some other way. Nope, they were listening to you. They were listening to you. They were listening to you. And it's like, they are always doing the thing every time the person out there that's saying the sky is falling and we dismiss it, or I dismiss it. I won't put that on anyone else. I was wrong. They were right, and it's going to be right here as well. They did this on purpose so they could have more of your information. They've taken so much of our information and sold it and traded it and built profiles to better exploit us. Of course, this seemed normal to them. One more step on this path that we're already on, this dark, dark path that we're on. Of course, they took the next step. I like this is the kind of thing where it's like, oh, this company Embark has just had several strikes against them. The AI voices, this stuff. It's time that they just get slapped by somebody. Like the European Union should come down and slap these guys for this. This is make an example of them kind of behavior, right?
Oh, it's egregious. There's an expectation of privacy there that apparently does not apply to these companies, or so they think, right? This is like, I hadn't even heard about this. This is the first I'm hearing about it. So why do they need these direct? Are they looking for critiques about the game? Are they looking for like what the fuck do they even need to be in there for?
I mean, like I think it's like the why is always sort of like one layer below. Get me as much data as possible, and like there's a marching order to get as much data as possible about the players, so we can use every single detail we know about them to better position our game to succeed. Another example, like I think in the early days of Overwatch, or maybe the middle days of Overwatch, I remember the chat being, or in like the matchmaking being like surprisingly efficient at putting people together that would be likely to talk about the same things in chat. So I remember I would always bring up, I was watching a lot of RuPaul's Drag Race with Stephanie back then, and I would always like bring up my favorite queen in chat every once in a while, and I started getting put in games with other people who had their screen names as some of those queens I had mentioned. And it was like, that is not a coincidence. Obviously, they are using anything I've said in here to put me in games with other people that I might be able to have more of a conversation with, so the game becomes stickier. They are doing that like not 100% of the time, because it's like that doesn't account for all the times they're able to overlap over and over to hit you from different angles. They're doing it 10,000% of the time. They are coming at you with ways to position their product so that it infiltrates your life from every angle. And so I don't think they're like, hey, we have a very specific plan for how we're going to use these Discord DMs, but it's part of a wider web. And that's so when we talk about regulation, talk about the EU coming after them, I'm not saying like go there and just punish them for this thing. We need to, this overall overarching behavior needs to be dealt with. This idea that our data is so up for grabs that it can be treated willy-nilly, that needs to be regulated. It should go so far as every gigabyte of data collected about us results in a payment made to us by these companies. So at least they have to think about it first. That's value I created by existing, and you're getting value from it now. Why do you get the money from it and I get nothing? At least just build some barriers here so these companies have to stop and think before they do something like this. It is egregious and frustrating.
It's only getting worse. There are two stories I can think of outside of this where something similar happened. There was one with, I think, Proton Mail. It was found that they were giving information to the FBI and ICE for something.
Incredible.
And then Kyle, who runs Life 360, a study came out from Georgia Tech that basically said their security is so shit that a stalker could need like 2 or 3 pieces of information and know where their prey is at all times, thanks to these fucking apps. So like, what are we fucking doing here? What are we doing here? Right? These tech companies are basically cashing in on the fact that we spent 2 decades in a era of technology of convenience, right? Where their things were not necessary, but they were nice to haves. And now they've stuck all these things in there that they are saying that are now necessary. You need AI. You need these things for safety and peace of mind. And we're all fucking falling for it when we live just as fine without it as we eventually will without it again when either the bubble bursts or people come to their fucking senses. It's frustrating to be played with like this. Yeah. Our emotions, our anxieties. People talk about anxiety and depression being at an all-time high. You think it's on fucking purpose?
Yeah, it's clearly
they use it against us.
I mean, for real, like I will always point to that one day on Instagram where the algorithm broke and it started showing people gore and terrible like sexual
Yeah,
videos and sexual
yeah, yeah,
violence
yeah,
videos, and they're
yeah.
like, oh man, that just the algorithm broke. It's like, no, that was
No, it
part
didn't.
of a literal psyop that these companies were using against us to make us feel anxious and vulnerable, so Trump would have a better chance of winning. It happened right in the lead up to that. It was all about pitting us against one another. A lot of racist stuff, so that you get
Yeah.
just what you get pitted against other races, and it was so clear that that's what happened. They know what they're doing. They know how to use this stuff against us, and it's at a certain point that is going to have to break as well.
It reminds
Let
me of I'm sorry, my kids
no,
real
go
quick.
ahead.
My kid's school got hit with like a ransomware attack a couple of years ago, and I couldn't fucking figure out why. It's a polling place,
Yeah, yeah.
and it happened in like September.
Yep. Yeah, of course. Let's keep this dystopia world tour going with one last story on that topic. PlayStation 5 is showing different players different prices for the same game. This is from Lewis Parker at Kotaku. PlayStation users have just spotted that Sony is experimenting with a, quote, new pricing method, often referred to as A/B pricing, that offers users different prices on the PlayStation Store. Unfortunately, this isn't actually new, as Sony has been offering users dynamic prices for several months now. As noted by Push Square a few hours ago, a thread titled PSN Game Prices Goes Up When Signing In was posted on the R Mildly Infuriating subreddit. As you can see from the image in the thread, Assassin's Creed Unity should be on sale for £3 74 cents, pence, whatever it is, in the UK. However, after logging into their
Wait,
PlayStation Network account, the user noticed that that they were instead offered the price of $9.99. Um, yeah, cool. The dynamic pricing is something that is going to sneak into our lives like all this other stuff more and
mm,
more. It's not illegal. In even in the EU, it's not illegal. In fact, I think it's been ruled to be allowed. You would hope, though, that instead these companies would be afraid of the very loud and demanding gamer user base that they're trying to sell things to, because these are people that like to hunt for discounts and feel like they have command over the price that they pay for something. That is
mm.
part of our culture as gamers, is looking for deals, selling games used, making the money, making the dollar really stretch. And one of the ways we do that is by collectively sharing prices with one another and being like, hey, here's a good deal. And that is like part of how we are manipulated into spending games, because they made us feel like we got a good deal. If the deal feels like it could potentially be a lie, if I don't trust that this price is like the lowest price I could get because they know I want to buy this game, so they're just charging me that extra 4 or 5% on top, like suddenly all of that culture shatters, and it's this, oh, they're just going to find ways to get me at my most vulnerable moment, to get me to spend the most money as possible on this product. And it's just another time that they're using all this data against us, right?
And not to mention, it seems backwards. The fact that you're subscribed to PlayStation Network and getting the higher price, you should be
Right.
getting the discounted price for being a member, should you not?
Right.
Nothing about this makes any sense, but you're completely right. Dynamic pricing, surge pricing, as the rideshare apps like to call it. Just one more layer of bullshit on a increasingly large bullshit sandwich, isn't it?
Yep.
All these, again, these things of convenience have become importance, and now they're being turned against us, and it's just a matter of time, I feel like.
Yep. The movie, the showing of movies industry, the theaters
Mm.
tried dynamic pricing for seats a few months ago, maybe last year sometime, maybe a little bit longer, and there was a pretty big revolt against that. And I bet it probably has snuck back in at some places, but I just remember people being like, "Hey, we're going to be loud about this because this sucks and we don't want to deal with this," and that kind of helped quell that, at least initially.
Hey, remember when they tried to sell Outer Worlds 2 for $70 and we all went, "You better
That's
fucking not." And they were like, "Oh, we were just
yeah.
kidding, guys."
Yeah, that's right, man. Now it's like if they released that at $70 now, it'd be just like a few months later, really, and people would be like, "Yeah, I guess, whatever."
Sure.
Um, all right. So different prices on PlayStation. Last couple of stories here. Sega explains why it is so important for them to have Yakuza on the Nintendo Switch 2. This is from Nintendo Everything. Yakuza series chief director Rusuke Hori has spoken about why it's so important for the Yakuza series to be represented on Switch 2. Sega has slowly been bringing over the franchise's different games since the console launched last year. This continued with Yakuza Kiwami 3 and Dark Ties last month. It was notable since, for the first time, the series had a new game launching day and date on a Nintendo system alongside other platforms. Nikkei Across Trend recently asked Hori about Yakuza coming to Switch 2. Although he's unsure if the series will sell well on the console immediately, he believes potential fans could pick up the games down the road, and the approach allows Sega to broaden its reach. So I think this is a shift we've seen, Jason, and this is like, again, give Capcom credit for Resident Evil and sort of establishing this. And it just paid off with Requiem, where it's like we have a catalog of games in a series, and the fact that there are so many of them eventually does benefit all of them, because once you get someone into one of those games, they are much more likely to buy the next one. And then if they play two, I bet they're almost guaranteed to buy a third. And if you buy a third, it's like 100% of the time they're going to keep getting the rest of these games. And they're going to do that because they feel like they made an investment in their time playing a game, and it's going to pay off because there's so much more to explore, so many other characters to meet, so much more story to experience. And I think that they have seen that has worked on other consoles. And so the fact that they're putting these games out on Switch 2 slowly but surely, the idea is maybe they don't immediately turn into smash hits on those consoles, but people will slowly pick them up over time, and they'll kind of replicate what they did on other platforms, where people pick up the game and start getting on that treadmill toward eventually buying all of them. I really like that way of thinking. It feels sustainable. It feels like it encourages these publishers to invest in their games and keep remaking them and keeping them alive on other platforms, keep porting them, making sure that the next game is building on what it had before while going in interesting new directions, which I think is the definition of what happened with Requiem. So cool to hear, right?
Yeah, you use the older games, whether you're porting them or remaking them or whatever, to build the foundational tech that you can then use for the newest version of the game. Also, too, based on the first story we talked about, the Switch is now the most traditional of the gaming consoles, right?
Sure.
So there's an entire audience of people who just want to fucking play video games and not have to worry about the PCs or the all that shit. They just want to pick up their console and play. If you can get your games in front of them, you may just create a brand new audience base on Switch 2 alone, because they're the older gamers who just want to press play and go.
Right.
So
that's a good point. Like, yeah, even like the PlayStation, pick that thing up and you could use it to be watching all kinds of video content and stuff like that. And it's like, no, the Switch, you pick that thing up, you know what you're doing. You're playing a game. All right. Capcom has moved up the release date for Pragmata by a week. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. But those are the details. It went from April 24th to April 17th. That is exciting because that game looks real good. Every time I've played it, I've really enjoyed it. And this shouts that they're confident about it, right?
Oh yeah, definitely shouts some sort of chutzpah, like, "Oh yeah, we know what we have here. The demo impressions have been great. We don't have to wait any longer than we need to. Let's get this shit out and rake it in." I think this is another. I think it's shaping up to be another Capcom hit, but a new IP hit, which is humongous.
Yes.
For them. Everything I see about this game, I want to play it more. I'm very excited.
I tell you what, the Capcom's recent role makes me want to go back and play some more Exo Primal, where I'm like, I bet that game's actually even better than I remember enjoying it. I bet there's even more to it than I gave it credit for at the time. So that's happening April 17th, basically 5 weeks from now. We are, a little bit over a month from seeing that game out in the wild, and that's very cool. Finally, there are no plans for a Mega Man Legends collection, but it's possible. I did see this. Yeah, that's Sean. You okay, bud?
That's Charlie Brown.
Basically, they were asked, was it in an interview? Let's see here. Izumi shared his thoughts on a Mega Man Legends collection in a recent interview with RPG Site. He said, at this time, there are no plans to do so. So at this time. But he does go on to say, however, as mentioned in a prior response, when we consider new collection projects in the future, a Mega Man Legends collection would also be one of the possible candidates. So it's not happening now, but it sounds like it's on their list of game series to give the treatment that they've given to the original Mega Man franchise and Mega Man X and Battle Network, and now what is it, Stardew Legends,
coming,
whatever it is.
Stardew Valley, Mega Man Stardew Valley. It's a different game. No, Star Force, that's coming out soon.
Okay, right. So they keep doing it with all those other ones. Doesn't seem like they have any interest in stopping. So Sean, do you think they'll eventually get around to it?
You know that scene from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where he looks at Uncle Phil? He's like,
How come you don't
why
want
don't
me,
he
man?
want me, man?
Yes, I'm
That's
aware.
Mega Man Volnut. Why don't they want me,
Listen
man?
to me. Listen to me. Just because there's no Legends collection doesn't mean there's no 32-bit collection that has Dino Crisis and Mega Man Legends and a couple of other Capcom PS1 games that you could throw in there too. Just because he says there's no Legends collection doesn't mean it's not going to be included in something.
Jason, that's why I like you. You're a dreamer.
I'm a glass half
I
full,
don't know,
baby.
man. This is friggin' weird. That's why I put it on there. Like, come on, they're doing literally everything else now with Star Wars. Like, come on,
listen,
give
agree.
us the ones
It's
that's it's the most difficult to get a hold of nowadays. It would make for a great collection.
I don't want no Legends collection unless we get the prototype for 3.
That's what they're waiting for.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah. Man, you start talking about a collection of PS1 Capcom games, and my brain immediately went to the PS1 Namco Museum collection games. They have those awesome like 3D museum spaces you can explore. If Capcom did that for their PS1 games in like a long series of releases, like here's 5 games and here's another 5 games, that would be the greatest thing that has ever happened in the history of the world. I would love that.
That would rule.
That would rule. All right. I should play Mega Man Legends. That does it for the headlines, everybody. We're going to get over to the poll question from yesterday. Let's take a look here. It was the Crimson Desert one, right? Where are you at with Crimson Desert? Let me refresh one more time. I'm getting it. I need to see more of it. I don't know what that is, and not for me. And the number one response was, I need to see more of it. 14% said they are just getting it. 26% said, I don't know what that is. And 19% said, not for me. So yeah, most people were like, hey, I need to see what those reviews are. I will say early on when this poll was happening, when there were still quite a few respondents, I'm getting it had quite a few, had a bigger share of the pie here. It was like some closer to like 20%. So I wonder if like the word around this game is already beginning to sour about people being like, look, I know you're excited from the really cool looking trailers, but here's some reasons to be concerned. It feels like that might be getting out into that community a little bit. Have you been keeping track of this Crimson Desert game at all?
I played it at SGF last year. Found it to be I found it to not be a good demo, but not because of the game, because of where they threw us into the game. I felt like it was too far ahead. It wasn't hand-holdy enough for a demo as it should be. It beat my ass basically, and I'm bitter about it. I'm just bitter. But no, I think it's gonna be good. I really do. I think they've been working on this for a long time. I think they have the right approach. I think what is there will appeal to a certain type of sicko. Whether it has more universal appeal remains to be seen. But I do think it has some legs. I am also in this need to see more of a camp, but I think it could be good.
We'll find out soon. That game's coming out later this month, right? So yeah, people will probably have plenty to say on launch day. In the meantime, we are going to get to the Bomb 12 here in a second to wrap up the week, but we should take care of all of our other business first. Jason Finelli, why don't you tell people where they can find you on the internet, what you have going on, all that good stuff?
JasonFinelli.com on Blue Sky, Big Man Finelli on Instagram are the 2 most frequent social media places I go to. So follow me there for bullshit. The most recent Game Informer magazine finally hit your digital archive, I guess is the word, with the physical one coming out. I am in there 3 times. One is a blurb of my High on Life 2 review included in the review section. The second one is when I sat down with the lovely Mila Jovovich at the Game Awards to talk about her time in Hitman, as well as her and her husband being ahead of the curve as far as video game adaptations to movies were concerned with the Resident Evil series. And then finally, the big one, 6-page feature. Back at the Game Awards, I was given the unique opportunity to shadow one of the Game of the Year candidates. I had breakfast with them in the morning. I saw them just before they went into the red carpet, and then I saw them afterward, and we chronicled their day, and it started with confidence and anxiety and hope, and ended, unfortunately, in heartbreak because they went 0 for 3 and didn't win a single award. So go read me hanging out with Warhorse Studio in the most recent edition of Game Informer magazine. Yeah. Very, very cool experience there. Also, I reviewed WWE 2K26 for Restart.
How do you feel about it?
Yesterday, listen to me. The progression in that game is fucking trash. There is no reason. There is no reason. I understand that level of progression for the paid DLC, right? The paid premium tier with the extra wrestlers that you're advertising as DLC passes. That makes perfect sense. Do not hide characters that you are saying are on the base roster behind a free tier when your progression is glacially slow.
And it's spread all over the place. It's like it's all these different modes you have to play to unlock
like
all these things. It's crazy.
I saw a post. They were at level 40. They unlocked all the tiers. They had played My Rise 2.5 times. They did the entire first section of the island. They played 50 random matches. What the fuck are we doing here? Yeah. And the worst part is you got rid of the accelerator, so that free you can't even skip the free tier. Right. And then some of the names that are on that tier, right? You cannot play as them unless you unlock them, as far as I understand. Andre the Giant, the British Bulldog, fucking Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt is on there. One of my favorite wrestlers in the modern age. I miss that man every day whenever I'm watching WWE and he's not there. Why is he so far back into that? It fucking kills me. Because what sucks is I enjoyed the rest of the game. 4 out of 5 stars. The control scheme's a little confusing. I love the island. I love the wrestling RPG. That's fun.
What's the fun in the island? Because I couldn't like when you're doing that. What are you enjoying?
It's a basic RPG.
Okay.
You're building up your wrestler, you're leveling up, you're doing missions and stuff like that.
Interesting.
It's silly fun. It's not going to take the place of any of my favorite RPGs of all time. It's just goofy shit, which I like a little bit of goofy. Some of the voice acting in the island is some of the weirdest voice acting I've ever heard, but it's funny. Wrestling's not supposed to take itself seriously. No. And I say this with all the love in the world, professional wrestling, you are not a real sport. You are athletic theater. You need to lean into that. That's what you are. You are not the same as the UFC as much as TKO wants you to be. You are not the same as the NFL and the NBA.
Not the same as NBA 2K. It's one of the shames those games are like colliding so much. It's just because it's they need to go in separate lanes so they can kind of play to their strengths.
The wrestling is fine. I like the control schemes that can get a little confusing, especially with some of the new modes where you have to like drag them to the ropes and flip them over. I find dragging them or carrying them to be a little awkward in the current control scheme. But the modes are cool. The sheer amount of match types they give you is impressive. The Creator Wrestler is one of the most in-depth creation suites I have ever seen. That shit's awesome. But like, it's all the dumb, goofy shit they do around it that doesn't need to be there and is only there for one reason.
Yeah, just to extract as much as possible. It's crazy. All right, let's see what else is happening on Giant Bomb. We should talk about that. So today's pretty busy. Pretty soon here, we're going to get set up for a multiplayer stream of Pokemon Pocopia. I think me, Will, and Sean are going to hang out and play. Or I'm sorry, not Sean, but me, Will, and Chuck are going to be playing. Although Sean, if you want to hang out, feel free. And we're gonna check that out. I've been playing enough to like unlock multiplayer. I feel myself being pulled into this game quite a bit. After that, we'll have a UPF where we're playing Marathon, and then after that, Mike is going to be starting Pocopia fresh from the beginning and kind of really taking his time in there and showing what that experience is like. So that'll be happening later this evening. Busy Friday, but you should hang out with us. It's been really good. It's been a good week. We had a new episode of Marry Me Tomodachi, best episode yet. New episode, the final episode in the season for Virtuoso's Blight Club season. That was an all-timer. You go watch the whole season, but you want to like really build up to that moment. A lot of very funny stuff happened. All right, so with all that out of the way, I'll be back, or I will be back with this show next Thursday because I'm going to be out Monday and Wednesday, but that does not mean the show won't be back. I've talked to Mike. Mike's going to run the show on Monday and Wednesday, everybody. So we should have more Game S mornings next week, right as you guys come back on Monday. In the meantime,
Mike's mornings. That's cool.
Yes.
In the meantime, excuse me, sir, it's Friday.
Friday, so it's time to wrap up the week, everybody, with the Bomb 12. Let's do this. These are the 12 games that really matter to people who are really playing video games. Let's get at it with number 12, Esoteric Ebb, which is another one of these higher rated games from the year so far. It's doing very well through critic reviews. It's like a tabletop version of the Disco, a more tabletop focused idea of the Disco Elysium combat and world, but maybe with a little bit more color and charm. I have not played it, but I've seen it do very well, and I'm kind of interested to see how it works. Number 11 is Mini Shoot Adventures. Now that that's out on Switch, and I think it was on Game Pass as well. I think a lot of people are checking that out. Number 10 is Neo 3. Number 9, Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. Number 8 is Arc Raiders. Number 7, Slay the Spire 2. Out in early access. That game had a ton of people playing on Steam, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that like staying at this point or higher on the chart next week. Number 6 is Overwatch. Number 5, World of Warcraft Midnight. Number 4 is Pokemon Pocopia. Number 3 is Mugenics. Number 2 is Marathon. And number 1, after cracking the chart last week with just like barely half a day of people being able to play it, is Resident Evil Requiem. Number 1. There you go. All right, that's cool. The Bomb 12. We'll get that updated on giantbomb.com, and we'll get it updated with a new link to a new form for a new Bomb 12 that we'll wrap up next week with. So if you want to have your say, if you want to get your game in there, get your shit in, as they say, go to giantbomb.com, scroll down there, find that forum link, and submit your game. All right, I think we have wrapped this show up. Jason Finelli, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talking about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
It is always an honor, my friend. Thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to the next one.
Thank you all for watching and listening. You are the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.